All right. Welcome, everybody, and good evening. It's Thursday. I think it's the 22nd, 23rd of September 2021. And we are here to have a um, reflection and lesson and meditation on the harvest moon and the equinox, the autumn equinox, which happened yesterday. So, as I said in the short talk I did on the Ma Devi page about the equinox, this is a time of year where we're looking at coming into balance, like this, the day and night is in balance, equal times of sunlight and darkness. Um, and as we go through our year, we get these opportunities to tune into the natural cycles of the earth and the natural cycles of the seasons so that we can see how we're doing with those things in ourselves. We also can tune into that in terms of even every day, morning versus noontime, evening, night, also be the four quarters that we could look at. And when we look at those things, we're we're thinking about the turning of the year and what it means for us. And we can also look at it across the span of our life, the spring of life being childhood, the summer being young adulthood, the fall being older adulthood, and the winter being the end of life and death. So we're moving into from the fall towards the winter. So we're looking at what happened this year and what did I gather, what grew this year, and then what will I put by, like what will I keep hold of for the winter, and what will I plant now that will arise in the spring. So it's a little bit like in the Jewish tradition, this is the new year. It's the time of year people look back at the year, kind of make amends or get forgiveness for things that haven't gone right and start fresh at this time of year. So I wanted to have you consider that. We'll do a meditation about that, but I want, as we're talking and meditating, I want you to consider, how has your year gone so far? What have you harvested from this year in terms of wisdom or spiritual growth or um, experience that is important to you and your life? And then how will you take that into this winter time of the turning inward, which is the time from now as the days get shorter until the winter solstice. So in the world, this can be a very busy time. The fall, going back to school, the holidays, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas holidays. But for us, in a spiritual perspective, we want to look at this as the slowing time. We want to downshift into where we want to slow things down, get centered and grounded, get reflective, meditative, moving towards the Advent season, which is very much an interior kind of experience from Thanksgiving to Christmas. So I want us to just do some of that downshifting now and reflecting on what you've harvested from this year, and what you foresee will be useful to put out your intentions on now for the new year. Okay, so that's kind of the cycle of the equinox. And Beatrice and I were looking at the autumn equinox service that used to be done in the order that we belong to. It's quite a long and uh, quite a long and, let's say, mystical and somewhat mysterious in its terminology. So I'm not going to read that to you because I think it doesn't serve to make it too kind of amorphous that you can't get a hold of it. So I'd rather think about it in the way of harvest, which is a very simple analogy to make for yourself. What have you harvested this year, and what will you put by to use to get you through the winter, and what will you also put by in terms of or plant now that will come up in the spring. So those are kind of the three areas that I want you to hold on to as we go through the meditation so that you can report on that at the end when we come back together. Okay, does anybody have any questions about the equinox or um, the quarterly turning of the year? So in spiritual terms, it's also a time where it's a thin time. It's called a thin time. New moon, full moon, thin time, equinox, solstice, thin time, holy days, thin time. What that means is it's easier to slip into conscious contact and communication with the spiritual world. So for this exercise, you're going to be looking to connect with your own higher self, to take stock in how your year went and what you have gained, and then also what would be next for you. That's the gist of it. So we're going to do a meditation to get us into that space, and then have some quiet time where you can gather the answers to those questions, and I'll lead you through those. And if you have a notebook there, you can jot down the answers as you go, but so you'll be in a kind of meditative, reflective state. So it's okay if you open your eyes and write if you feel the need to do that. So if you want to write on your paper the three things, which is what am I harvesting from the year, what am I taking with me from that into the winter, and what am I planting now for for the new year, for the growth of the new year? What am I hoping for, expecting? All right, so let's get those things written down, and then you can get yourself settled and take a breath and close your eyes and get yourself centered. So the way that we get centered is using our breath, deepening the breath, making it a little bit longer, so it increases the oxygen to our brain and quiets our brain function. We get ourselves comfortable and still. We let go of our thinking mind and fall back inside of ourselves so that our mind goes quiet, falling down to our heart center, breathing relaxation into our body, and then using the breath to draw back all of the energy from your day, from the things that you've been busy doing, the things that you've been concerned about or worried about or busy with, and just drawing your energy back to yourself. So letting go of any ties that you have from your day so that you can gather yourself together and have your worldly consciousness meet your higher consciousness as we go into meditation. So feel that in your body. Feel the energy of that drawing back of your of the ties to the world. Use your breath to pull that energy back to yourself. Let's say to an aura, maybe 6 inches around your body, but also feeling it through your whole body as you land again into your body. And once you're in your body, you can scan your body and use your breath to relax any parts of your body that are tense or um, painful or uncomfortable in any way. So noticing your body with attention and gratitude. If you have a part of your body that feels uncomfortable, you might put your hand on it as well as your consciousness on it. And just breathe into that part. Let it know that you are attending to it. Sometimes it's helpful to put a hand on your heart so that you can feel what's going on in your heart as well. And we're following the breath with our center of attention at our heart center, letting our mind go quiet, our heart become calm, our body become relaxed, and no strings attached to us in any direction. So just feel around you and see if there's anything drawing your attention, and just cut it off for now. You can go back to it later. Now turning into your heart, turning away as if you're turning your back to the outside world and your front to your heart of hearts. We're going to move into that Avalon space, moving into our heart, and then walking through the archway into the Temple of Avalon and seeing the center of the temple, the dome of the center, and the archway, and the platform walkway to our own throne, to our own seat. And as we do there, you might stop and wash your hands and face, take off your shoes, wash your feet to cleanse yourself from all things worldly while we tune into the spirit world, we tune into our higher self to have this time of reflection. And as you prepare yourself with cleansing, and then walk to your throne and turn around and sit down in it. And asking your higher self to join you there. So feeling your higher self moving down from above your head and joining and merging the energy of your higher self and your waking consciousness in that liminal space, in this thin space and thin time. And really paying attention to the shift in the energy in your physical form as the energy of your higher self joins with you. You may feel yourself expanding as if you're a larger person, bigger and taller and maybe shinier, but just notice whatever shift in your energy comes when you invite your higher self to join you in that space, sharing that throne with you. This is the liminal or doorway space between waking consciousness and spiritual consciousness. And let your breath allow for a merging of the two so that when you contemplate these questions about the year, about your growth, you do it with, rather than a question and answer, you do it with a deeper knowing, as if there's no separation, which in fact, of course, there is not, but in our waking mind, we feel a separation. No separation between your higher self and your conscious waking self. So that feeling of oneness can take over your mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual sense of self. And now we'll imagine that in the center of the temple there's a screen that's going to play the first 9 months of your year 2021, just in snippets that are of importance to you. So you and your higher self will bring to mind on the screen the events, the experiences, the revelations, the blessings, and let yourself look at those and count them. See what you can harvest from your year. And I'll go quiet, and you can write those down if you want to, or you can just take note of them mentally. Just take a couple of minutes to see what arises as you harvest what 2021 has brought to you so far. As you're making that list of harvest, also look at those things that were grown this year, maybe accidentally, maybe mistakenly, that you want to leave in the field, that you don't want to harvest and bring into the winter with you. Things that would be good to let go of, like the trees are letting go of the leaves. What might need to die and be let go of, be turned back to the soil for making the soil richer for your winter and for the new year. And finally, on that screen, let yourself see what, what seeds or bulbs you will plant, what ideas, what hopes you will plant in the soil now that you have harvested, what came to you in this year, and you've let go of what no longer serves you. And just look at the screen and look at the intentions you have for what the new year will bring, and that what this kind of fallow resting time of winter will be able to begin to manifest by your desire for what will come to life again in the new year. So the harvest time is a time of gathering, but it's also a time of dying as the fields die and get turned back under and get turned into useful soil. And what will you plant in that soil that will winter over and grow into something useful to you in the new year? And taking stock in those things that have been revealed to us, we want to cultivate in our hearts gratitude for the harvest. This is represented by our um, fall holiday of Thanksgiving, but we can start now to say thank you to God, to our higher self, and the universe for the things that we have grown into and learned in this year, that we've harvested from our efforts and from graces that have been given to us. And then we can release the things that we find we have outgrown or don't serve us anymore, or have been something that we need to let go of. We can ask for help in releasing those Maybe ask for forgiveness if we went astray. Also offer forgiveness to anyone that we might need to let go of, or a situation we might need to let go of, freeing them from our um, judgment or condemnation. And then looking forward in our hearts with joyful anticipation towards the growth of those things that we are planting for the new year. So gratitude and forgiveness and joy can live together in us as we merge with our higher self, knowing that we are moving forward consciously, aligned with our higher self, aligned with those that gather together here. And then take a moment to call Jesus and Mary in to look at the fruits of your labors of this year. Let them look with you at that, with you and your higher self. So that you can get their energy and their word on your harvest and your letting go and your plantings. If there's any deeper wisdom that might arise in you from our teachers and beloved Saviors, Jesus and Mary. And gathering the thoughts and impressions of Jesus and Mary on our year and their guidance to us about moving forward. We can send gratitude from our hearts to them for their guidance, to our higher self for being present with us. And then let's take a moment to send gratitude to the earth itself, to the Great Mother, as we imagine the earth suspended in the middle of the temple and sending love and gratitude from our hearts, healing energy and light, recognizing that these turnings of the year are the way that the Mother Earth and Father Sky teach us about stages in our lives and changes and growth, and that in gratitude, in return, we can send our love, our thanks, our dedication to deeper understanding and to growing more and more aligned to the truths of the Spirit and the truths of nature, the truths of our own beings, what we're here on the planet to do, how we will be a help in the evolution of humankind and human consciousness. And taking on again the mantle of one who is dedicated to raising in consciousness for our own sake and for the sake of humankind, and pouring that consciousness in love onto the Mother Earth for healing, for peace, for humankind to evolve and be restored to our divine nature, that we might care for the planet and one another. And planting those seeds together in the heart of the Mother Earth, in the heart of the Sun. We pray for those to bear good fruit in each one of us and all of humankind, that our species and the planet would be blessed. Now taking a deep breath in, gathering your thoughts, and moving back toward your body, leaving behind your throne and Avalon, and coming back through your own physical heart center, feeling your body in your chair, remembering that you can keep this pathway open so that you can have access to your higher self, to Jesus and Mary, at any time, but this time of year is a particular time that offers an ease of connecting. And taking a nice deep breath and opening your eyes when you're ready. So I am going to share a little bit about these parts of the meditation, and then I'll turn off the recording, and you can so you won't have to share yours on the recording. So you can just share it with us. So the first part of that meditation had to do with harvesting what's happened this year that you recognize has come to some kind of fruition for you, that's grown in you, that's useful to you, that you can harvest and hold for the winter, hold you over in the winter time. And so for me, I was looking at things that I've done this year with our group, and things that I've done this year with my children and my travel and my book, and starting my doctoral program. So I see a lot of things growing and continuing to grow, and that's very joyful. For me, that harvest is very joyful. I don't feel like anything's missing there, and things are, a lot of fruits were gathered from those things. And then in the letting go department, I had a list of people that I had to let go of this year. And when they come to mind, I often feel a combination of sadness and resolve. Like it just has to be that way, that sometimes people have to move away and they have to do their own thing. And that's a sad thing, but it's a true thing also. So I have to let them go, let them fall, let them go back to their God that watches over them, and know that they'll be okay. Even and also have the letting go be a process of this, allowing for the sadness and the grief that comes with that. To say, I wish it weren't so, but in fact it is. So that's the kind of the letting go. It's a natural process, like the leaves dropping from the trees, and we might wish they would stay, but they don't. So some of those people are letting go because they're of death, some because they've moved, some because there's just been a natural break in the relationship. But for whatever reason, that was in my letting go category. And then for the new year, I have a lot of things, as I usually do, going with our group and with my classes, both the ones I'm teaching and the ones I'm taking, and with counseling and retreats and things that I love to do. So I feel very joyful in thinking about creating those things as the new year arises. And some of those will happen this fall, and some of them will happen in the spring. And certainly getting Jesus and Mary's blessing on all of those things is just kind of the icing on the cake to say, I see for myself, and then I see with Jesus and Mary, how am I doing? Am I fulfilling my mission? Um, anything else I need to know? It's always lovely to have their input on the things that we want to confirm in ourselves. So these levels of consciousness that we have, our waking consciousness, our spiritual consciousness, our connection with other beings, our connection with the earth and with the movement of spirit and evolution that we're going through in ourselves and in humankind. All of those things are moving around like all of these different plants behind my head here in this equinox image. Um, all fruits that we can contemplate and take into the winter with us. And I really look forward to this time of year where there can be a slowing down and more reflection and more time of darkness that allows us to kind of hunker down a little bit and get the fruits of all of those things as we go through the winter months and let ourselves uh, get still for the time of Advent, which is a beautiful, beautiful time of deepening. So all those things we have to look forward to at this time of year, and I'm glad that you all came to contemplate those things and to tune into yourself and tune into Jesus and Mary for their help and come up with a plan of what you'll be planting in the fallow soil this fall, so that you'll have new growth coming in the spring. So I'm going to turn off the recording now, and then you all can share if you like.